Now, he also said that who else had yokes of iron upon their neck besides the black man in America? Well, once again, stay tuned. The Bible will tell you who did. Now, so because of this horrible understanding on the scriptures, the black Hebrew Israelites always ask this question.
All things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
Stop. Now, what people in history, in the world's history, had all the people had yokes of iron upon their neck until they were mentally destroyed. Only the so-called blacks and Hispanics that were.
That's right.
Well, we're going to find out once again. Now, this doctrine has, as we know, has grown and has spread so badly it's starting to come into the Christian churches. This is a Christian pastor guy that has a mixed congregation, but he's teaching that same garbage. Check this out.
And shipped to another place. Deuteronomy 28:48. I'm talking about the curses. The curse is a sign. When you see the sign over a people, you will know who are the true Hebrews. Deuteronomy 28:48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee. You're going to serve them in hunger, in thirst, in nakedness, in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Let me give you a picture from slavery. You saw that before? You saw that before? Now listen. Listen, this is not to get you mad, no. Don't be mad at nobody. You know who you be mad at? Be mad at us. Be mad at us. It was the agreement. God said, listen, this is the contract. You signed the contract. We shook on the contract. We said we'd all put the iron on our neck. Put the iron on our neck. And that's just some of the other. You saw the shackles on the neck before with the chains coming down from it. Who fit this description? God, what curse? Oh God, who people has this? Which people has this curse as a sign over them?
So it has even crept into the Christian church where the curses identify God's people. All right. Let's move on because they keep asking this question. Who else has this curse? Who else had yokes of iron around their necks besides the black man, or in some camps, Native Americans and Hispanics here in America? So let's find out. Who else? Let the true prophets of old show you who else. First, let's look again at the curse for transgressing God. Deuteronomy 28:48 says, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, plural, which the Lord shall send against thee. In hunger, you're going to serve him. And in thirst, you're going to serve him. And in nakedness, you're going to serve him. And in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. That is the curse. Let's see what this is talking about. There's one scripture most of them, talking about the black Hebrew Israelites, ignore just 2 chapters later. Deuteronomy 30. Verse 7 says this, and the Lord thy God will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee, and thou, talking about Israel, shalt return and obey the voice of the Lord and do all his commandments, which I command thee this day. This day. Is Deuteronomy 28:48 talking about the white man and the transatlantic slave trade? Let's see. What enemies? What enemies is it talking? It's talking about the white man and the transatlantic slave trade? No. Deuteronomy 28:48 is talking about King Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, and his sons sons. That's why it says, and thou shalt serve thine enemies, because you will be serving Babylon, who's ruled by King Nebuchadnezzar, as well as you're going to serve his sons and his sons' sons, some of his grandson, his grandchildren. Let's read on. Now, where does this say this? It's going to be a lengthy read, but we're going to get through it. This is Jeremiah chapter 27. I'm going to start at verse 1. We're going to find out This is Deuteronomy 28:48. In the beginning of the reign of Joachim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, came this word unto Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, Thus saith the Lord to me, make thee bonds and yokes, and put them upon thy neck, and send them, talking about the bonds and the yokes, and send them to the king of Edom. Now, the first thing to note is that this first bonds and yokes is not iron, but wood. And there's a reason why the Lord had him do this, because as we read on. So it was wood first. So it says, and send them to the king of Edom, and to the king of Moab, and to the king of the Ammonites, and to the king of Tyrus, and to the king of Zidon, by the hand of the messengers which come to Jerusalem unto Zedekiah king of Judah. And command them who? Edom, Moab, Ammonites, Tyrus, Zidon, and whatever lands they rule. Because these are going to the kings. So they have their provinces, their ruling. So he says, and tell them, and command them to say unto their masters, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Thus shall say unto your masters, I have made the earth, the man, and the beast that are upon the ground by my great power and by my outstretched arm, and have given it unto whom it seemed meet unto me. So he said he made the earth. What's the earth? All that's in it. The water, the land, the beast, all that God created in the earth, he's handing over to someone that he's calling his servant, or that he seems meet for him, or right. That's what that means. Meet, meaning right. Verse 6. And now have I given all these lands into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, my servant, and the beasts of the field have I given him also to serve him. So the Lord made the earth, the man, and the beast. And the earth consists of the water, the beasts that roam on it, and the man that roam on it. Meaning everything that consists in the earth. Water, materials for clothing, and food, because the beast will serve him. When you read other translations, it says that all these things became slaves to him, to Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. So the earth, the man, and the beast, all given into the hands of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. Verse 7, and all nations shall serve him. How many nations? Just Israel? No. All nations shall serve King Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and his son, and his son's sons, until the very time of his land come, and then many nations and great kings shall serve themselves of him. Because when you guys read through that, the rest of what happened with Babylon, the Lord came at the end, sent the Medes against them and the kings, and they smote them and destroyed them. All right. So verse 8, and it shall come to pass, listen very carefully, that the nation and kingdom which will not serve the same Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, and that will not put their neck under the yoke of the king of Babylon, that nation will I punish, saith the Lord, with the sword and with the famine and with the pestilence, until I have consumed them by his hand. That verse, and we'll read on, quotes Deuteronomy 28:48 to the T. It says, and thou shalt serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger. Why? Because God had given him the earth. And in thirst. Why? Because the Lord had given him the earth. So he ruled the waters, he rules the things of the earth, even the wild animals shall serve him. And in nakedness, because if he rules the earth, he obviously rules the material and all that kind of stuff, and can make the decisions in terms of the materials of the earth, because he's in control of it. And he, talking about this King Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Is that not what this verse just said? That the nation and kingdom which will not serve the same Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, and that will not put their neck under the yoke of the king of Babylon, that nation will I punish, saith the Lord, with the sword and with the famine and with the pestilence, until I have consumed them by his hand. Let's read on. Therefore, hearken not ye to your prophets, nor to your diviners, nor to your dreamers, nor to your enchanters, nor to your sorcerers, which speak unto you, saying, ye shall not serve the king of Babylon. For they prophesy a lie unto you, to remove you far from your land, and that I should drive you out, and ye should perish. But the nations that bring their neck under the yoke of the king of Babylon and serve him, those will I let remain still in their land, still in their own land, saith the Lord, and they shall till it and dwell therein. So the Lord says, the nation that will not put their necks under the yoke, meaning subjection or rule, or the nation that will not serve, meaning be slaves or bondage, slavery, whatever word you want to put there, to the king of Babylon, the Lord will remove that nation from their land, and they would perish. And he will consume them or destroy thee by his hand, if you do not place your neck under the yoke of Babylon. And like I said before, at the beginning, that yoke that the prophet Jeremiah made first and sent to all the nations, rulers, was wood. Now, let's move on. So when did it turn to iron? When you read the next chapter, Jeremiah 28, this is verses 9 through 17. Verse 10. Sorry, I got 9 on there, but I started at verse 10. When you read verse 9, since I got 9 there was a quotation mark, prophet of the Most High, who came unto the people and prophesied a lie to him and broke the yoke of wood off of the prophet Jeremiah's neck and gave a false prophecy. So let's see what happens. Verse 10. Then Hananiah the prophet took the yoke from off the prophet Jeremiah's neck and brake it. And Hananiah spake in the presence of all the people, saying, thus saith the Lord, even so will I break the yoke of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, from the neck of all nations. Wait a minute. So Hananiah came to prophesy that God was going to set free all the nations? Why would God care if the black Hebrew Israelites say God don't deal with the other nations? He only loves Israel. Why wouldn't God just redeem Israel and just leave all the other nations under Babylon? So he comes and says that the word of the Lord came to him and said that God would break the yoke of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, from the neck of all nations within the space of 2 full years, and the prophet Jeremiah went his way. Verse 12. Then the word of the Lord came unto Jeremiah the prophet, after that Hananiah the prophet had broken the yoke from off the neck of the prophet Jeremiah, saying, go and tell Hananiah, saying, thus saith the Lord, thou hast broken the yokes of wood, but thou shalt make them yokes of iron. Yoke of wood you can break. Iron you cannot break. If the yoke that Nebuchadnezzar would have had was wood over the nations, then the nations could rise up and break the yoke, meaning defeat King Nebuchadnezzar and take over. But the Lord said, not so. All the nations are going to serve him. I'm going to turn that yoke of wood to yoke of iron. You will not be able to escape his rule. You will not be able to escape the bondage of Nebuchadnezzar. You cannot escape from iron when it has you bound. So it says, but thou shalt make for them yokes of iron. Verse 14. But thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, I have put a yoke of iron upon the neck of all these nations, that they may serve Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and they shall serve him. And I have given him the beasts of the field also. So to answer the black Hebrew Israelites question, who else had yokes of iron on their neck? It only happened to the black man in America or the Hispanics or the Native Americans. God said he put a yoke of iron upon all the nations' necks. All of them. All of them. And we're going to find out, because that's fulfilling the words of the other prophet, and we'll get to that shortly. But God said he put a yoke of iron upon the neck of all the nations. Now, verse 15. Then said the prophet Jeremiah unto Hananiah the prophet, hear now, Hananiah, the Lord have not sent thee, but thou makest this people to trust in a lie. Black Hebrew Israelites that's out on the streets, twisting these various scriptures, but to stay on topic, twisting Deuteronomy 28 and 48 by standing in the face of the so-called white man, in the face of the Asiatic man, in the face of the Africans, in the face of the Arabs, in the face of any other nation outside of blacks, Hispanics, and the Americans, and telling them who else went through these curses, who else had the yokes of iron around their necks. It only happened to us. God said, y'all all a bunch of liars. Because he put the yokes upon the necks of all the nations to serve King Nebuchadnezzar. All of them. So the next time somebody asks y'all that question, who else had yokes of iron around their necks? Tell them all nations did. All of them. Let's read on. So let's find out what God did to Hananiah, the false prophet. Just like he's going to do these false prophets in the Black Hebrew Israelite movement, in the Christian church that's come up in there with this crap. He's going to put y'all to death too. Just like he did Hananiah. For making the people trust in a lie, giving them false hope, making them hate other people, making them prideful in themselves. We only went through the curses. Who else? It's a sign upon us. But God said all the nations had yokes of iron around their necks. So who's lying? You or God? Who or God? Get a precept. Where's the precept that said only Israel had yokes of iron around their necks? Let's read on. This is what happened to Hananiah. Therefore saith the Lord, behold, I will cast thee from off the face of the earth. This year thou shalt die, because thou hast taught rebellion against the Lord. So Hananiah the prophet died the same year in the 7th month. So for a man to come, break the wooden yoke off the prophet and said, God said, the word of the Lord came to me because I'm the prophet of the Most High, come back, that I will break the yoke off the neck. I will break the yoke of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, from the neck of all these nations in the space of 2 full years. Sounds pretty familiar, and we're going to get on this towards the end, but it sounds pretty familiar to Christ is coming back in the year 2000. That's as God said. Oh, no, that failed. So, September 23rd, 2017, 400 years of slavery. It's going to be over for us. Christ coming back. Oh, we're going to find out. Oh, no. Here's the other batch. 2019, 400 years, slavery's over with. Christ coming back. UFO going to beam us up. We're going to find out. And God is going to prove all y'all false prophets. And everybody that's sharing them stupid memes, sorry. The brothers always got to correct me with that. It's memes, not memes. All of y'all that's sharing that garbage, y'all all under that delusion. All of y'all under that delusion. So, ladies and gentlemen out there, when September 24th come by, everybody that's been sharing that September 23rd crap, label them as false prophets. When 2020 comes, and they still over here in America, label them all as false prophets, just as God proved them false prophets in the year 2001, when 2000 passed, and they were still right here, talking about they in captivity. So, God killed the false prophet, Hananiah, for making the people trust in a lie. And that's what you guys are doing as well. God said all the nations had yokes of iron around their necks. So the yoke of iron was not literal.